I'm Randy Ellis, and I'm here with four distinguished guests today to discuss some big news in Oklahoma. There's actually three different things going on. We've got each tribe has filed lawsuits against the opioid manufacturers, and we also have some breaking news that the Attorney General may want to discuss with us today. So let me introduce my guests. This is Michael Burridge, who's the lead outside counsel for the state in its lawsuit against opioid manufacturers, and it's also representing the tribes in newly filed lawsuits that were filed yesterday. We have Attorney General Michael Hunter, who's leading the state's effort to hold the opioid manufacturers responsible. We have Chief Gary Batten of the Choctaw Nation, and we have Governor Bill Anatubby of the Chickasaw Nation. First thing we want to discuss, I think, today is the tribes yesterday in their respective counties where their headquarters are located filed lawsuits against the opioid manufacturers. Gary, could you talk a little bit about why you did that and the impact that the opioids have had on your tribe?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's been a real travesty, the impact that it's had on our tribe. I mean, we've had loss of lives. I mean, I keep saying we've lost moms, dads, brothers, sisters, you know, and of course the treatment that goes along with that. We've had a lot of people that we've treated for this type of addiction, and so basically that's the reason why we filed the suit, so that we can hopefully get money to help with the prevention, intervention, and treatment of this tragic cause to our people.
Governor, tell a little bit about the impact on your tribe.
Well, it's a travesty what has happened, not just to the tribes, but for all people of this country. The deception, the out-and-out untruths that were passed along by these companies. It had a dramatic effect on everyone, and tribes in particular, probably at a higher level than other ethnic groups in this country. As far as the Chickasaw Nation is concerned, we run medical facilities and we're prescribing the drug at the advice and with the information that was provided to us, which was untrue. And so we had a lot of people that have been affected, not only through our medical system, but outside. But families that have broken up because of this issue. We have people that have died due to overdose. And so it's the results of this is what has led us to believe that we need to do something. And of course, the state of Oklahoma has filed a case, and we believe that this is a case that we need to take on ourselves. And so we would like to have these companies held accountable for what they've done, and for them to remedy many of the situations that are left that we can remedy, and to basically help us overcome this big problem that we have within our communities. So we're serious about this, and we're passionate about it because it affects us personally, it affects our families, and so we're very serious.
General, I understand that the state is fully supportive of the tribes in their decision to do this. Is that correct?
Unconditionally. The opportunity that we have to assist the Choctaws and the Chickasaws in this lawsuit by sharing lead counsel, it gives them the opportunity to benefit from all the research and data gathering that we've done, the template that we've developed for the state's damages. They can benefit from that. There's an economy of scale there. But the opportunity that we have, again, to collaborate and partner with these two sovereigns, the state of Oklahoma is going to benefit, and they're going to benefit. So we're very excited about it, and we're honored to be working together with the governor and the chief.
And I understand you have a little breaking news to share with us that just happened moments ago regarding the state's lawsuit. Could you go ahead and share that with us a little bit?
Well, we're pleased. We just got word from Judge Vicki Miles LaGrange Court that the state case, which has temporarily been with her, there was an effort made by the manufacturers to get this case in the MDL, which we believe is a black swamp. The case has been remanded back to state court. We're going to be back before Judge Bachman down in Cleveland County. We're going to recommence discovery, and where we want to be is before a jury of Oklahomans deciding these damages, not before some group of plaintiffs' lawyers in a smoke-filled room in Columbus, Ohio. So we're real excited about it. The work that our lead counsel has done, the work that our legal team has done to get this case back in state court has been just this side of heroic.
For those that don't know, the MDL is a multi-jurisdictional consolidation of federal lawsuits that's going on in Columbus, Ohio, where many states around the country have been consolidated. The litigants here would prefer it to be done in state where Oklahomans will make the decisions. Judge Burridge, the two Chickasaw and Choctaw Nations filed their suits in state court as well. Talk a little bit about that decision and why that was made.
Well, both tribes have filed in state courts, the Chickasaws and Ada, the Choctaws and Durand. And the reason that was done is because of the fact that you have mentioned, or the general has mentioned, that if it had been filed in state court, it would have been transferred to the MDL, the multi-district litigation, where there are hundreds of cases pending where whoever is in the MDL, they lose control of the case because there's a group of lawyers, the steering committee, and there's a select group of lawyers picked by that judge that control what goes on in that case in Columbus, Ohio. If we had filed the tribe's case in federal court and it was transferred to the MDL, I would really not get to have much involvement in it. It would go to the steering committee, who would take fees off of the top, and I would have little say in what happens. The MDL controls the discovery, the pleadings, the ruling on the motions, and on behalf of the tribes, I wanted people in Oklahoma making that decision. I wanted an Oklahoma judge making that decision, and not a federal judge. And I don't have anything against federal judges, Randy.
No, I wouldn't think so, but having been one.
In Columbus, Ohio. And so we
You have a lot of faith in Oklahomans, right?
Oklahomans, yes. I do have a lot of faith in Oklahomans, and the state, the general, the chief, and the governor are tremendous leaders, and are doing things that should be done for the state and these tribes, and trying to get, on behalf of the state, the taxpayers' monies back for this devastating event that has occurred because of the epidemic, and the same thing on behalf of chief and governor, on behalf of the tribe, the tribal funds that have been spent fighting this epidemic.
It's considerable. The lawsuits, I believe, do not specify a damage amount. That hasn't been determined yet, is that right?
The methodology for the damages has been determined, and we have experts working on that damage model right now, and what goes into the damage models is fixed, but the dollar amount, the specific dollar amount, has not been arrived at, but it is substantial, very substantial.
General, what did the pharmacy companies do that you feel like they're the ones that should be held responsible here?
So there was an opportunity that I think deceitfully is the word I use, that they took advantage of. Medical community made a decision that there was going to be a new vital sign, and that vital sign was going to relate to pain. Unfortunately, that's a subjective determination, and there was this need that some pharmaceuticals took advantage of for a magic pill that would address pain in a comprehensive way. So they made a decision to essentially disguise the addictive quality of opioids and argue to physicians that this time-release formulation was going to avoid addiction. They didn't have any studies that indicated that. There was no real science that indicated that, so they came up with pseudoscience, and they paid credentialed people to go around the country and argue that opioids weren't addictive. You know, unfortunately, that was a successful venture. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars brainwashing, in our view, prescribers. And the last 20 years has been the consequences of that: addiction, overdose deaths, and 80% of the people who are addicted to opioids became addicted because of the overprescribing of opioids. Maybe the most deceitful act in a series of deceitful acts was when there started to be attention given to the addictive quality and the results of prescribing opioids. The manufacturers doubled down, and they had sales reps going around the country convincing or trying to convince doctors that there was something called pseudo-addiction, for which there is no science. And the response that the sales reps argued, the reaction that they argued prescribers should take, was to continue to prescribe, and in fact to prescribe more opioids to deal with pseudo-addiction. So that's, to me, in a nutshell, that's what this lawsuit's about. These companies put profits ahead of patients, and the consequences of that are thousands of deaths, babies being born, substance addicted. Within a few minutes of drawing their first breaths, they go into withdrawal symptoms. That's the alpha and omega in this case. We're committed to it. It's not just a lawsuit, it's a crusade.
Governor, I understand that although certainly addiction has hit all of Oklahoma, that the tribes have been disproportionately affected by it. Is that correct?
That's true. In fact, the Indian Health Service has noted that. There's been studies by the CDC that actually shows that Native Americans have a greater impact here, have had a greater impact. And in our communities, we see it. You can name someone that's fairly close to you that has a friend, or you may have a friend or a relative that has been affected by this addiction and oftentimes overdose. So it's important that we make these corrections. And we are making corrections within our own system, very carefully when it comes to the prescription or prescribing of these things. But we still need to be able to do more. We need to be able to counsel with and have education programs that will help people understand how important it is to avoid abuse of these drugs. And then we have those people who are addicted. And we have treatment programs already, but we need more because of this widespread addiction that we have. And so education, the treatment, and in addition to that, we need to simply hold these companies accountable for causing and being deceitful about these opioids.
Chief, what do you hope to be the ultimate impact of this lawsuit for your tribe?
Well, we hope that we can get dollars, like we said, to put our families back together. We hope that we can use these dollars for prevention, intervention, and treatment, as Governor was saying. We have to make people aware of what the addiction, what type of personality does a person have. The intervention, we already have people is already dealing with those situations. We have families that's dealing with that. And then, of course, the treatment. But ultimately, is if we can eradicate, this opioid abuse, I call it a betrayal of trust, is because we, as individuals, as Choctaw Nation, as Oklahomans, we went to our doctor and we expect them to give us the right medication. And when they were told by the pharmaceutical companies that, oh, these are not addictive and so on, that's what we did. And so we hope to restore some of that trust into our communities and into the health systems but ultimately it's about our family, it's about our people, making sure that they have a better way of life than addiction.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, Randy, with regard, you inquired about the damages and so forth. Reggie and I have done a lot of work with a national firm, Nix, Patterson and Roach, and we've been working with them for years on very significant cases nationwide. And it just so happens that Nix, Patterson and Roach, they have now established offices in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And their firm has offices here. But they were lead counsel in the Texas tobacco litigation. And they have a depth of knowledge that has really been beneficial in this case with regard to how these big companies operate, their thought process, the deceit, the deception, how to develop damage models and so forth. So it's been a no-holds-barred effort on behalf of the state and the tribes that this is going to be a first-class trial with first-class lawyers and experts right here in Oklahoma.
General, any closing statements you'd like to make?
I just can't say enough about the opportunity and the wisdom behind the state collaborating with the Choctaws and the Chickasaws to hold these companies accountable. It's truly a whole is greater than the sum of the parts approach, and we're excited and encouraged to, again, lock arms, work together, and hold these companies accountable for what they've done to the people of the state of Oklahoma, Choctaws and Chickasaws.
Chief, anything you'd like to say?
Well, I think one of the sayings that we have at home is together we're more. And as, again, citizens of Choctaws and citizens of the state of Oklahoma, it is quite an honor to work with Governor Anatobi and with Attorney General Mike Hunter here. And, of course, having our lead counsel, Mike Burridge, to lead this effort to make sure that these unjust are done right and professional so that we can, like I said, at the end of the day, help our families and help provide that treatment that's critical to them.
Governor, you'd like to wrap it up?
I think this is a great partnership, a good mix. Working with the state of Oklahoma, working with the Choctaw Nation, and having a council that represents each and every one of us. And you know, it's good to see such a collaboration in the state of Oklahoma, to have the Attorney General and the Choctaw Nation, the Chickasaw Nation working closely together. So I'm excited about what the outcome might be. We believe we have the best team, and if you put the best team on the field, you have a greater chance of winning, and I'm thinking that's what we're headed for.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming here today to talk with us, and certainly it will be a big event for people to watch going forward to see what happens with these lawsuits that have had such a major impact on Oklahomans and their families.
Well, thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Randy.